Joining me today is Kevin Pelissier. He is the CEO of Mayflower Botanicals, Inc., and he's the Executive General Director of Coastal Compassion, Inc., which is located on the South Shore in Massachusetts. So tell me about Mayflower, your plans to open up a medical marijuana facility in Munson, Mass.
Yeah, Mayflower Botanicals, we are currently involved in the state licensing process at the final round. And we've been working with the town of Munson to finalize the siting profile section. And where we are now is we've got plans in place with the town and a petition in, and the town's gonna be holding a special town meeting on August 22nd to vote on some bylaw amendments that will allow our project to site in the location that we deemed most suitable. Very excited to be potentially bringing this project to town. There's a lot of opportunities, a lot of job growth potential and tax revenue. And being from the town originally, if I'm gonna give a bunch of tax money to a town, I'd rather it be my hometown.
And let's talk more about what it can bring to Munson.
Yeah, the opportunities with this emerging industry are really good. You know, Munson used to have a lot of manufacturing jobs. I remember stories my father and my uncle told me about, you know, getting out of high school and there being jobs all over the place. It's not really the case anymore. And the medical marijuana industry nationwide has been growing quite rapidly. And it falls into the kind of light manufacturing area of kind of jobs. So for what we're looking to do, we're anticipating somewhere in our first phase, somewhere around 40 to 50 jobs. And that'll be a mixture of some skilled laborers with some of the cultivation help, some skilled bakers and processing for some of the infused products and product development, some very just general standard business positions, you know, bookkeepers, HR, accountants, things like that. And then just some general maintenance for the facility, electricians, HVAC experts, just to keep everything running and humming along as it should. It's gone very well so far, and I really hope that it's going to be as fruitful as I think that we can make it, both for the patients of the area and providing them access to you know, safe, quality medical marijuana and medical marijuana products, but also to the community, the jobs it's going to create, the tax incentives and benefits that we're going to be able to directly contribute to the town, and you know, large part of that, you know, having grown up in Munson, there's always been, at least with my family and a number of the families and friends that I have in town, very strong, you know, kind of dedication to the arts. And it's, that's what's, you know, something that's really exciting for me is to, you know, do something that could potentially create a spark in my hometown and provide some really good opportunities for people to engage with one another and just, you know, come together as a community. I have very fond memories of it growing up, and it's something that I hope that when I have children, they have very fond memories of when they grow up.
Kevin, what are some of the concerns? Have you got any pushback from community residents on this proposal?
Yeah, there's been a little pushback. I think a lot of it has just been they weren't super clear on what we were proposing or what was going to be you know, entailed with the project. So I've held a few info sessions, and I've been really diligently trying to talk with as many people as I can and address some of those concerns and fill them in on what we're looking to do. And it's really, it's actually, I'm very glad that I did that because we've learned quite a bit. There are a few concerns in that area specifically that seem to be kind of a trend that keeps coming up. One of them is water pressure. You know, the area just south of Munson State Hospital is the overlay district that we're looking to create for these projects. And a number of residents have complained about, you know, poor water pressure in that part of town. I spoke with some of the town officials, and they've, you know, confirmed that, yeah, there's some older utility water lines up there, and that it is something that will need to be addressed. And, you know, when I talk with the residents, I'm glad they bring this up because, you know, things like that, if it's an issue for them, it would be an issue for me. And I prefer to try to get a lot of stuff figured out and planned ahead. So I don't, you know, surprises tend to not do well with businesses, and, you know, oftentimes they're the reason that things don't succeed or the unforeseen things. So the more I can kind of stay on top of things and get ahead of problems, the better. Another issue that was a concern was just traffic. Upper Palmer Road is a pretty busy road. It's one of the coming in and out of Munson, between Munson and Palmer. Upper Palmer Road or Palmer Road are pretty much your two ways in or out. So I do know that, having lived in the area, there are certain times during the day where there's some traffic spikes, especially when school's in session. Both the high school and the elementary school are not too far down the road, about a mile or so, and that was a concern of a lot of the residents. And in looking at that, we've started looking at our scheduling and how we're going to be operating. And I think that at the end of the day, we're talking about 40 or 50 people coming to work, normal cars and trucks. We're not going to have any big rigs rolling through 5-6 times a day or anything like that. And we're going to be growing plants with greenhouses, so we have to kind of follow the sun, much like the farmers that worked the land before us. And that being said, that 40 to 50 person staff will be split up pretty good throughout the day into about kind of 3 times where they'll be coming in and 3 times where they'll be going the day. So we're really not going to have any large influxes of traffic all at once at any points in time, which is good, because again, we don't want to overburden. I know there's a few houses that are some turns that are not the easiest to see around, and if we can keep the things to a minimum, that's what we're going to try our best to do.
So being from the area, and you're creating this large project and you're trying to bring it to town, do you have plans to try to hire locally?
Yes, very much so. And I was walking around at Summerfest this past 4th of July, and that seemed to be a pretty common question that came up with a lot of the people I spoke with was, hey, I support what you're doing. Any chance I got a job or any kind of work for me? And my response is always the same. We're looking for hardworking people that are good at what they do and talented craftsmen. So it is very much our intention, as we move forward with this project, to reach out to a number of the tradesmen and contractors in the area, and give them a shot to check out what we're looking to do, and have a bid on the project. And I know a good number of them, and I know the quality work they do, so I'm fully anticipating that we're going to be sourcing a lot of this construction work locally, in addition to our future staff. Part of the reason, and again, part of the community contributions of this, the economics of small towns. Not to sound nerdy and go on a little tangent about economics, but there's a concept that I really like called the velocity of money. And it's the idea that in a small town, if I have a business and you have a business, and our friend has a business, I spend $1 with you, you now have $1 to spend with them, they now have $1 to spend with me, and it goes around and around and around, and that dollar, in the scheme of our little economy, is actually worth many, many more dollars. And it creates new opportunities for everybody kind of involved, and keeping that money in the community, because when you shop at a larger store, you buy something company, maybe you save a little bit of money, but once you spend that money, it's just going to go sit in someone's bank account, and it's not doing any more work. And it's not really efficient for the economy that way, in my opinion. So the idea of really getting the local people involved, it's good for everybody. Everybody wins. Everybody, has a viable business, and they're able to get the things that they need for themselves and their families. And it's, in my mind, that's kind of one of the, we can talk about the tax contributions and we can talk about the jobs being created, but those are kind of one of the, intangibles that people might not think about as much. But to me, I think it could be one of the largest impacts that we can really bring to the area.
So you've been holding information sessions ahead of this August 22nd, that's the special town meeting for the vote, correct?
Yep, that's correct. Throughout the process, it's, again, it's very important to talk and engage with the people of the community. I don't know everything, so the more concerns that they can address and the more questions that they have, the more confidently we can put our project together. So right off the get-go, when we, after we were working with the town administrator, Evan Broussard, met with the selectmen and spoke with them, and and they liked the job creation aspects and the potential spark to the economy and the business situations in town, I decided to start scheduling some information sessions. We held one in July ahead of a planning board meeting, and it was fantastic. We had it at the Munson Polish American Club in their function room upstairs. They were gracious enough to donate us a space for the day, and we ended up having about 30, 40 people turn out. It was getting it started at about 7 o'clock, and it was probably 5 of 7, and it's me and my mom and my father are there, and I have like a couple of my team members that drove in, and I'm like, oh, well, I don't see anybody here, so maybe no one has an issue with it. But then a bunch of people showed up, and I'm really glad they did, because for the next hour and a half, we had some really good conversations. Some really great questions were asked. We were made aware of a lot of issues that only the locals that were in that area really were aware of. And I'm very grateful to know those issues now and can plan around them. But I feel as though the general consensus was, by the end of the night, people that were a little skeptical or people that were just kind of unsure, I hope, and it's my feeling that they walked away feeling a little more confident about what we're trying to do, and that it's not going to, be people running wild with this, medical marijuana stuff. That it's, a very regulated, very controlled, business operation that has lots of legal compliance requirements with the state, and has really, really strict and stringent security requirements that have to be in place and maintained at all times. So I think once they realized all of those things that were in place, and that this is really a large, well thought out, well controlled type of industry and type of operation, they felt a lot more comfortable with it than they did originally. It's not just somebody planting a bunch of stuff in a field and hoping for the best. It's a very high-end kind of business operation that's focusing on helping the patients of the area and providing some economic opportunities to the town.
And what do you hope for on August 22nd, a large turnout of voters?
Yes, so that is what we need. In order, we have some proposed bylaw changes, some very simple ones. We wanted to create some bylaw changes that made sense, that opened up some of the unused farmland area near the solar farm just south of Munson State Hospital. As many people watching this may know, the solar farm project didn't go that smoothly, and the company that was spearheading that has actually filed for bankruptcy. So we see that as an opportunity to utilize that area and try to take what is in many people's minds a sour issue and turn it into something that creates opportunities and aesthetically improves the look of it. The solar farm, I wouldn't necessarily want it in my backyard the way it is, and I feel for the abutting residents around there. So we're really hoping that this sort of project is something that can really be large enough to contribute and try to mitigate some of those negative aspects that were created with that project. And that's our hope there. So in order to get the bylaw change, we need a lot of voters to come out, because we need a 2/3 yes vote to enact these changes.
Thank you so much for joining me today and explaining this to us. And you have another information session scheduled. Now, when is the date on that?
Yep, we're going to be holding an information session on August 18th. That's a Thursday evening at 7 o'clock at the Polish American Club in Munson. If you're on Facebook, there's an event that's been created, and we're going to be posting it in one of the Munson Speaks groups, which is a Facebook group of Munson residents talking about interesting things going on in town. You can also reach me directly via email. My email is kevin@mayflowerbotanicals.org. I'm happy to answer any questions that people may have. And look forward to seeing a good turnout at the information session. If anybody has any questions or is for it or against it, wants to learn more, I encourage them to come. It was a very enjoyable time last time at the info session.
Great. All right, we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.